Hey friends, welcome back to my series, Vintage Life in the Modern World. For our second episode, we are going to be talking about vintage homemaking and how we can use some of the practical skills and techniques from the past to save some money, reduce waste, and make life a little bit easier. Because honestly, the modern day conveniences are, well, convenient, but everything today feels like it's just designed to be thrown away. From fast fashion to single-use everything, and things cost way more than they should. But if we take a step back and look at how past generations learned how to manage their homes through home economics, we might learn that vintage homemaking wasn't just about outdated gender roles. It was about making the most out of what you had, reducing waste, and being resourceful. And those skills, they are just as useful today as they were back then. I have a small collection of vintage home economics books and cookbooks. And while I will admit that some of the wording and phrasing in these can be a bit cringy at times, the fundamental ideas and processes in them are still incredibly useful today. And I want to share some of that wisdom with you in this video. And don't forget, I have created a Patreon exclusive companion guide for this episode with even more tips, recipes, and resources. You'll find a fully editable? Is that right? You can edit it. Household planner to help you get your housework in order. And I have included scanned copies of a vintage home economics book from 1928 and a vintage cookbook. So be sure to join my Patreon to get your hands on all of that, as well as all of the other great benefits of joining the community. Before we dive in, let me set the record straight. This is not about tradwife ideology, and I am not here to tell you how to run your household. This is about practical, time-tested skills that anyone can use, regardless of gender, family structure, or lifestyle. The way we manage our homes should be personal and adaptable and not dictated by outdated gender roles. Everyone who lives in and benefits from a home has a role in maintaining it. And how those responsibilities are divided up is entirely up to you and your household. And let's be real, not every tip in this video will apply to your life, and that's okay. Take what works for you, adapt what makes sense, and leave the rest. My goal is simply to share valuable, resourceful ways to make home life a little easier and more sustainable. Homemaking has long been viewed as a woman's responsibility, and while that perception still lingers, it doesn't change the fact that running a home is an essential skill for everyone who lives in one. In the past, homemaking was considered a valuable and respected skill set, one that helped people live efficiently and save money and maintain a well-functioning household. Somewhere along the way, though, it became trivialized and reduced to outdated stereotypes and dismissed as unimportant. But at its core, homemaking has never been about restricting someone to the home. It's about learning how to manage one. Regardless of gender or family structure, learning to cook, budget, clean efficiently, and repair household items isn't about clinging to the past. It's about gaining independence and reclaiming knowledge that makes daily life easier and more affordable. Today, more people than ever are struggling with the high cost of living, inflation, and disposable consumer culture. Maybe it's time that we take a look back and see what our grandparents knew all along. These are life skills that benefit everyone, and it's really time that we reclaim them as such. In today's world, most of us feel like there just aren't enough hours in the day between work and errands and household responsibilities. It's easy to feel stretched thin. But home economics, when approached with intention, isn't just about saving money. It's also about time management and making daily life more efficient, thus saving a valuable commodity, our time. Home economics once emphasized the importance of planning and efficiency, ensuring that household tasks weren't overwhelming or all-consuming. Being organized in the kitchen meant that meals came together faster, and cleaning on a schedule meant that the home stayed tidy without last-minute stress. In today's fast-paced world, these skills are more valuable than ever. Learning how to structure your daily chores, meal prep efficiently, and create simple routines can free up so much time for things that truly matter, whether that's rest or hobbies or spending time with loved ones. By incorporating these time-tested techniques, we can make home life not just more manageable, but actually enjoyable. Now that we understand why these skills are valuable, let's dive into the practical side of it. The goal here isn't to recreate the past, but to learn from it. To take the best parts of vintage homemaking and apply them in ways that make sense for our modern lives. These skills are all about making life easier, saving money, and reducing waste. Whether that's through thoughtful meal planning, smart home management, or just simply making the most of what we already have. There's so much that we can gain by looking at how past generations handled things. So let's break it down into a few key areas where vintage wisdom can really shine today. Back in the day, wasting food was not an option. Every scrap had a purpose. Vegetable peels became broth and stocks, stale bread turned into breadcrumbs, and meat bones were simmered for soup. These habits stretch our grocery budget and reduce waste. Making homemade stocks or broth is a fantastic way to reduce waste and save a bit of money. We keep a freezer bag in the freezer and we just save all of our scraps from onion, garlic, and carrot peels, ends of garlic, leeks, celery, as well as chicken and beef bones to make stock or broth. And then we can freeze that for future use. You can also save and freeze citrus after you've juiced them. You can save just the peel if you want, or slice them up whole, and they do freeze really well. I use them in my simmer pots, some cleaning products, or add them to hot or iced tea. Canning and preserving food was a way to make the most of seasonal produce. In today's world, it's still a fantastic way to save money and ensure that you always have quality ingredients on hand. There is a bit of a learning curve to learn how to can, so I highly recommend that you make sure that you're doing it safely. But if you're not quite into canning yet, if you have some fruit or even sweeter veggies like carrots that are in your fridge that are starting to look a little sad, you can blend them all up and make a very simple compote. Add a few dates or prunes or dried apricots for a bit of extra sweetness if you wish. Simply wash the fruit, but keep the skins on and cut them up. Cook in a pan for about 25 minutes and then just blend it all in a blender or food processor until well and truly blended. It's really great on yogurt or even on top of ice cream. Meal planning and batch cooking have helped homemakers avoid unnecessary trips to the store and stretch ingredients across multiple meals. If you find yourself ordering takeout too often, this is a skill worth reviving. I'm a big fan of batch cooking and freezing meals. While I don't have an issue with eating leftovers, after the third night or so of any meal can get old. So freezing even half of a recipe means that I have a meal that we know we like that's just waiting for us in the freezer down the road. And it's really great for those days that you just don't feel like cooking. You have a good meal that's just a warm-up away. A well-organized pantry is a key part of vintage homemaking. People didn't necessarily rely on daily grocery shopping or impulse buys. Instead, they stocked up on these essential ingredients that could be stretched across multiple meals. This approach not only saved time, but also helped households weather financial hardships, seasonal shortages, and unexpected events. Think about how often we rush to the store because we're missing just one or two ingredients. By keeping core pantry staples on hand, you can always throw together a simple meal without stress. In the past, pantry essentials included things like flour, sugar, rice, beans, dried pasta, and canned goods. Also baking powder and preserved foods like jams and pickles. These items could be combined in countless ways to make bread, soups, stews, casseroles, and baked goods. For example, a basic pantry meal might be beans and rice, an inexpensive, protein-packed meal that's a staple in many cultures. Pasta with a simple sauce, using canned tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil, and a few herbs and spices. Oatmeal with fruit or dried fruit, honey or nuts for a hearty breakfast, or my favorite, making overnight oats with chia seeds for added fiber. Making them overnight makes sure that I have something already ready for me in the morning. Stocking up on versatile ingredients like dried legumes, grains, canned vegetables, and spices allows for so much flexibility and prevents the need for super frequent shopping trips. In the past, homemakers carefully planned out meals based on what they already had, reducing both food waste and grocery bills. Another trick that vintage homemakers used was rotating pantry goods to ensure that nothing went to waste. They followed the first in, first out system, meaning older ingredients were used before newer purchases. This method kept food fresh and prevented spoilage, something that's still incredibly useful today, especially as food prices continue to rise. The key to a well-stocked pantry is finding a system that works for you, whether that means keeping dry goods in glass jars so you can easily see them, or using a list to track what needs to be restocked, or focusing on budget-friendly staples. A thoughtfully maintained pantry is one of the simplest ways to save time and money in the kitchen. I have always loved these household pantry lists found on vintage Hoosiers and cupboards. So in the companion guide for this episode, I have created an editable checklist for your fridge and pantry and freezer to help keep you organized. You can edit them to fit your needs and keep them either in a digital file or print them out and laminate them, or just slip them into a sleeve and then mark them off with a dry erase marker when you add new items or use them up. Sustainability was not a trendy buzzword in the past. It was just simply the way people lived. Before the age of mass consumerism and convenience products, homes were managed with a focus on resourcefulness, longevity, and minimizing waste. Many of these vintage habits were not only frugal, but also naturally eco-friendly. Here's a few ways that we can bring them back into our modern routines. Air drying clothes wasn't just a charming aesthetic. It saves money on electricity and it extends the lifespan of fabrics, keeping clothes in better shape for longer. In the days before electric dryers became common, clotheslines and drying racks were standard in every household. Not only did this save energy, but it also helped the garments last longer by avoiding the wear and tear of heat drying. Even if you don't have an outdoor space for a clothesline, consider using an indoor drying rack for delicate fabrics, sweaters, or even bed sheets. Not only will your clothing stay in better condition, but you'll also see a reduction in your electricity bill. Bonus tip, adding a little bit of vinegar to your wash cycle acts as a natural fabric softener and helps to remove some of that detergent residue, making air-dried clothes feel way fresher and softer. Homemade cleaning products using vinegar, baking soda, and lemon juice were the norm. These natural cleaners are just as effective as store-bought versions without the toxic chemicals and plastic waste. Before mass market cleaning products filled the shelves, people relied on simple, inexpensive, and effective natural ingredients to clean their homes. Vinegar disinfects, baking soda helps to deodorize, and lemon juice cuts through grease. There's a reason that these ingredients have been used for centuries. Now, there's nothing wrong with keeping commercial cleaning products on hand, but maybe switch things up as your just daily use. Use a homemade version and then keep the harsher chemicals for those really, really deep cleans. A basic all-purpose cleaner can be made with just vinegar and water and maybe a few drops of essential oil for a fresh scent. Though I personally love using Castile soap for so many applications. I make my countertop spray or all-purpose cleanser with water, Castile soap, and essential oils. For scrubbing surfaces, baking soda mixed with Castile soap and a little bit of water forms a gentle, non-toxic paste. I even use a Castile soap water mixture on my plants to deter bugs. And it's a great, gentle spot remover and laundry detergent. And because it's super concentrated, one bottle lasts me quite a while, even though I use it for so many different things. Homemade cleansers eliminate the single-use plastic packaging, reduce exposure to harsher chemicals, and just usually cost pennies to make. Boiling citrus peels in water with a splash of vinegar makes a natural citrus-infused cleanser, great for cutting through grease and leaving behind a fresh scent. Instead of single-use paper towels or disposable containers, people relied on cloth napkins, flour sack towels, and glass jars for storage. These small swaps reduce waste and save money over time. Disposable products weren't always the default. People once used durable, reusable materials for everyday tasks, items that lasted for years instead of being thrown away after a single use. Swap out paper towels for cotton or flannel towels. I bought these wonderful flannel towels from a Canadian company, and I just wrap them around an old paper towel tube and then place them in my paper towel holder so they are easy to grab and use. Swedish dishcloths are also a great option. They can be washed and reused easily. Instead of plastic wrap, try using beeswax wraps, silicone lids, or glass containers for food storage. I have a collection of glass jars that I keep after my jam or pickles or even sauces are used, and I reuse them for so many various items. These small changes add up over time, reducing waste while saving money. Plus, vintage-inspired glass jars and cloth napkins give the kitchen a classic, timeless aesthetic that's both practical and beautiful. Old t-shirts or worn-out linens can be cut up for rags for cleaning, replacing disposable wipes while giving fabric a second life. By incorporating these vintage sustainability practices, we can help to reduce waste, save money, and live more intentionally, just like past generations did. Only now we're doing it with the added benefit of knowing that these choices also help to protect the environment. A structured homemaking routine helped past generations keep their homes running smoothly without feeling overwhelmed. Even a simple schedule like laundry on Mondays or meal planning on Sundays can help modern life feel a little bit more manageable. Now, I am a planner at heart, and having a housekeeping or cleaning schedule has really helped me to structure our responsibilities. Because then I don't have to think about what needs to be done and when. I have it all written out. Over the past 24 years of my marriage, the division of labor has evolved. For the beginning of our marriage, we both worked full-time out of the home. So we divided it 50-50. We both cooked, we both cleaned regularly. Then for a time, we were able to hire some cleaning help once a month when I started my wellness spa business. I was working 60, 70 hours a week, and Will had a 3-hour commute. So we decided that sourcing out that labor was way more important than trying to take that on ourselves. And we were financially able to do that. Then when I started working from home, we reevaluated our division of labor once again, as I felt comfortable taking on more tasks, and we developed the current schedule that we have when we moved to Germany. We had a very large and very old house in Germany, so I decided to break up my cleaning schedule into zones to take care of one zone for certain tasks every day. This really helped me to keep on top of things, and it also actually saved me a lot of time. I would spend maybe 10 to 20 minutes a day on cleaning. My zones are bedrooms, living room, office, dining room, and each of those have their own daily tasks like decluttering, dusting, or vacuuming and sweeping. The bathrooms have always been Will's task, and he chooses which day to clean those based on his schedule. He's also in charge of trash and recycling and putting the clean dishes away. We both kind of do a reset, I guess, every night before bed, making sure that things are picked up and put away. And the kitchen is just always cleaned pretty much every day after every meal. We also have a basic list of quarterly and yearly things that we need to get done around the house, and we take on those tasks together. To help you streamline your cleaning tasks, I have created an editable checklist for you based on my schedule, but you can edit yourself to suit your household. The link is going to be in the description for you. And for the companion guide on my Patreon, I have created a full editable household planner that includes this cleaning schedule. The planner also includes sections for a weekly meal planner, grocery list, freezer and pantry list. So if you think that having a full household planner can help you, join my Patreon to download that. Now that I've shared my cleaning routine with you, I just want to gently remind you that my home and how I maintain it might look very different from yours. It's just my husband and me in our home, plus our high-shedding, very sassy pug, Mildred. We don't have kids, and I work from home. So the way we structure our days and the kinds of messes that we deal with might not be the same as what's going on in your household. And that's okay. The goal here isn't to create the right homemaking schedule. It's to help you think intentionally about what's right for you. That means considering your time, your energy levels, your physical ability, the number of people in your home, and even the type of work you do. So please don't feel like anything I share is a one-size-fits-all solution. It's really not about copying what someone else is doing. It's about finding what works for you. For me, I have learned that I feel my calmest and honestly my most productive when the house is generally tidy and things are cleaned on a regular basis. That doesn't mean that I'm constantly cleaning or stressing out about perfection. I just mean that it's functional and comforting. That's why we follow a pretty simple mantra: don't put it down, put it away. It helps us to stay ahead of the clutter so we're not constantly playing catch up. But your version of a peaceful home might look different, and it should. Everyone has a different baseline for what feels good and manageable. If you're someone who thrives in a space that's a little bit more lived in and relaxed, that's completely valid. The idea isn't to meet anyone else's standard. It's to discover what helps you feel grounded in your own space. And when it comes to routines, you've got options. Maybe you like working in zones like I do, focusing on a specific room or area each day. That can really work well if you're someone who enjoys seeing one space fully done before moving on. Or maybe you prefer to clean by task, having a dusting day, a vacuuming day, a laundry day. And some people even batch all of their chores into one weekend morning and just knock it out. Whatever method makes the most sense for your life, that's the one that you stick with. There is no correct way to manage your home. There's only the way that feels sustainable, supportive, and leaves you with the energy to do all the things that actually matter to you. And that really ties into everything that we've been talking about in this series, using vintage wisdom not as a rigid set of rules, but as a toolbox. Homemakers of the past were creative, efficient, and deeply resourceful. They figured out systems that worked for them, often with very limited resources. That spirit of adapting, problem solving, and working with what you have, that's the part we're carrying forward. So whether you're a clean everything on Friday kind of person or more of a 10 minutes a day and call it good type, the key is to find your rhythm and let it support the life you want to live. If something broke, you fixed it. From darning socks to reupholstering furniture, repairing and maintaining household items saved money and kept things out of the landfill. I see this mindset really making a comeback with the rise of DIY and repair culture. Something that I've seen a lot lately are repair workshops popping up in cities. I know that it can be kind of difficult to find people to repair specific items. So these workshops or events where you can bring in an item and get it repaired or even learn how to fix it yourself is such a fantastic idea. The Repair Cafe is a worldwide organization with over 2,500 repair cafes that help you to get your stuff fixed. It's free of charge and you can learn a valuable skill. I highly recommend you check out their website to see if there's a cafe near you. Vintage homemakers didn't just maintain their own homes, but were active in their communities, sharing skills, swapping goods, and creating local support networks. Bartering and trading skills were once common practice. Neighbors helped each other out instead of paying for every service. A modern version of this could be skill swapping with friends, like trading homemade bread or extra veggies from your garden for sewing alterations. I myself have bartered quite a bit for my massage services. 2 of my tattoos were bartered for massages. Even if you don't think that you have a skill, I'm sure that there is something that you are good at that someone would happily trade something of value for. Back in the day, store-bought gifts weren't always the go-to option, especially during times of financial hardship like the Great Depression and World War II. Instead of running out to the department store, people made gifts that were thoughtful, useful, and meant to last. And honestly, I think we could use a little more of that mindset today. There's something special about receiving a handmade gift. It feels personal, intentional, and often has way more character than something mass-produced. Plus, usually it's a little bit more affordable and reduces waste. In the past, gifts like hand-embroidered handkerchiefs or knitted scarves or mittens were incredibly popular. Women spend time customizing fabric pieces with initials and floral motifs or decorative borders. Knitting and crocheting were also practical skills, meaning a handmade sweater or pair of socks was both a heartfelt and useful gift. If embroidery isn't your thing, you can still personalize store-bought linens with fabric paint or iron-on designs. In the 1930s and 40s, fabric was precious, so gifts were often made from leftover scraps or repurposed textiles. Flour sack aprons, patchwork quilts, or fabric-covered journals were common homemade presents. If you have old linens or sentimental fabrics, like a loved one's old shirt, you can turn them into little lavender sachets or a fabric tote bag, or even make a set of beeswax wraps to preserve food. Thrifted fabric is also a great way to repurpose for unique and one-of-a-kind gifts. These vintage homemaking skills aren't about romanticizing the past. They're about learning from it. They remind us that living efficiently and sustainably isn't a new concept. It's something that past generations did out of necessity, and we can adapt those principles to fit into our modern lives. Small changes can make a big impact, whether it's reducing food waste, making thoughtful purchases, or just simply creating a home that feels well managed and welcoming. So I encourage you to pick one or two of these skills and give them a try. Maybe that means meal planning to help make your week run a little smoother, or switching to reusable household items, or even organizing your pantry so that you can shop more intentionally. Whatever resonates with you, start small and see how these habits can make your life a little bit easier and more intentional. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if there's a vintage homemaking skill that you already use or one that you are excited to try. Let's inspire each other to bring more resourcefulness and mindfulness into our daily routines. And if you'd like to take it a step further, check out the companion guide for my Patreon members with even more tips, printable checklists, and practical ways to incorporate these habits into our daily life. It's a great way to stay organized and make these vintage-inspired skills work for you. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out the first episode in this series, Why Slowing Down Matters. And stay tuned for our next episode coming up, the Vintage Self-Care Guide, Beauty, Rest, and Slow Living. I will see you next time. Bye.
So that's how the Taylors organized their work-at-home plan. Their ideas helped their family. See how many would help your family. Each one looked after his own room and helped more with his own clothes. And the Taylors had individual responsibilities for family jobs. And there were the odd jobs, which anyone could do in spare time. So the Taylors organized and did the many jobs which are part of running a home.